Thank you. Welcome to the Community Committee for October. I'd like to thank Councillor Graham for chairing the July meeting in my absence. I can report as chair that I have attended the White Ribbon meeting with Jackie and pulled together quite a few organisations, and we'll be running an event in November 27th. We can go ahead with what was on the agenda to receive the apologies and absences.
So, Councillor Irene Frazee has sent an apology, as has Councillor Tony Mortimer.
Okay, thank you. Any other apologies?
No,
Right. Number 2 on the agenda is to note declarations of members of interest. Councillor Rose.
I am a member of St Andrew's Church. On this occasion, I will be speaking on that.
Okay, so Dunster Church. Anyone else?
Neither Dunster Health. I also have a connection with them, the group, because I commission them to deliver in my dementia groups.
Okay, so that's a non-pecuniary interest for both Councillor Clark and Councillor Rose. Any more? No, if anything springs up midway through, please do let me know. Okay.
Confirm the signing, number 3 on the agenda is to confirm the signing minutes of the Community Committee meeting held on the 16th of July 2024. Dennis, Councillor Swain is proposing, and Councillor Murray seconding. Those here, are all in favour?
I could just ask you, I'm pleased to sign.
And that's because I'm staying as well.
So you might sign at the bottom there, please.
I think you've got a good attention.
Oh, so Martin and you might just put your initials here.
Initials.
Yeah, thank you. And also on the next page, right at the bottom, there's an answer. I can't add anything. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Alan.
Public participation is next on the agenda. A period not exceeding 15 minutes for members of the public to ask questions or submit comments that relate to the items within the agenda. Any member of the public wishing to participate should email support town council by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting, providing their name and email address and indication subject to the questions or comments.
We can have no submitted questions or comments.
Thank you. Moving on. To review the year to date, the financial position of the community plan 2015. Is there any questions regarding the financial plan? Proposer, Councillor Graham, and Councillor Clark is seconding. Councillor Rose.
Is this budget online for meetings for spending by the end of the year?
Yeah, yes it is. A lot of payments, since this was printed, so we fund in 2 stages, don't we? So a lot of payments have gone out during this week to some of the groups, the second payments. But yes, it's as it should be.
Item number 6 is to consider matters relating to grant applications, of which we have 7 today. And the first one is LS Gymnastics, making it safe for all. And they're looking for a grant of 1,500.
So they supply, they have a lot of members, coming up to sort of 1,000 members now, plus the to give me a breakdown of postcodes so that I could define whether, in fact, they had members in our area, which of course they do. CW1 is 352, CW2 is 234. They are a family, there are 5 of them, and they put everything into this club. The schools they service are Sound and Wistaston Academy, Springfield, Lavender, Stately Broad Lane, Hungerford, so most of those are in our catchment. The mats that they buy are really expensive and they have to import them from Sweden. They're specialist mats, they use a lot in special needs. They rent at the moment in the Apollo, and the rent was £8,000 a month. That's recently been increased to £17,000 a month. One of the, I think it's one of the fathers that attends, has offered to build them a purpose-built building next to, I think it's next to Torvire, and I think he's connected, and that will be, they call it their forever home. They need something like 17 mats, and they're asking us to fund £1,500 of one of the mats, and she was very, I know there's lots of need out there. The fact are that the project total she's got down is 2,500, but when I dug into it, I could see that actually, when I did the conversion of the Swedish krona, which was fun, they're actually 2,590.50 plus that, plus £700 delivery. So in fact, the project total is 3,290.50, and they're asking us for £1,500. So it's less than 50%, which I wanted to point that out because obviously we always look at ratios.
Councillor Gray.
And now they need more than the one.
Yeah.
Are we going to get more than the one?
So I think they're up to 17 in total. They have been doing lots of fundraising. They tried to build their reserves so that when they move into this new building, they're able to buy a lot of these mats, and they're just asking us for help with one of them.
I just going through this. If they're paying £19,000 a month rent,
Well, that's
as
why
it
they
says
need
here
to move.
somewhere here,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just think it's obnoxious. But I know I'm not allowed to say that, but I just do.
You think the rent is obnoxious?
I do, yeah.
Well, it's obviously a lot of money, but at the end of the day, they've had it doubled, and they constantly get these add-ons from the Apollo, and that's why they need to move out, and they're looking at, they're
How long,
asking us to
do we
fund
know how
it.
long it's going to be before they can move?
They're applying at the moment for the planning permission, so it's going to be 6 months, I would guess,
I
at
would say
least.
it's probably over a year.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, but they need the mat now, though, because
£19,000.
well, they charge, a membership, don't they? But they need the mat now. The mat would move with them. And I've spoken to her, as I said, at length. So it's whether or not members feel minded to agree to the funding.
Councillor Gray.
I think the work they do is amazing. It's, they provide the postcodes. I feel inclined to give them the most we can because they're in a really tricky situation at the moment.
Yeah.
So I propose that we give them £2.5 grand.
I'll second.
Do we have any objections to that? So, wow, they've got more than they asked for. £2,500.
All in favour?
Salary and days. Okay. I'm sure they'll be delighted with that. Thank you.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
Okay, moving on to 6.2.
Moving on to 6.2, the picnic show in a week.
Okay, so we last funded Ricknick in 2022 for their Summer of Musicals project. I feel with this one that they're asking us for quite a lot of money and it doesn't benefit an awful lot of people. They have 10 people in their creative team. They're including audience members in what they're asking us for, and what they're actually asking us for is project placement support. So they're looking at expenses, and they're looking at stipend expenses for participants. And for me, I think that members need to think carefully about whether this fits our criteria and whether indeed we would like to proceed. We also did use them throughout the summer programme. and they were commissioned and paid to deliver what they delivered. So yeah, how do we feel about that one?
Is this the group that did the summer project with Lycée and Fairton?
Yeah, in Iceland, yeah.
So they did the books in the line.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was directly to the Lyceum. This was,
On the square.
yeah,
On the square.
yeah.
Differently.
Yeah, it's different. We funded the Lyceum separately, didn't we? So I just think that the ratio is low. 10 people in the team asking for £2,500. I don't think it's a good use of our expenditure.
I just want to echo what you're saying. I think there's so few beneficiaries. It's a lot of money.
So how are members minded?
Is there any other questions?
I see that you're asking £4 a day for food and travel, and £4 a day for travel in the weekend. That's £1,040.
It's a lot, isn't it?
I don't think we ought to be paying that for 10 people.
No, exactly. That's how I feel. So, should we vote on it?
I could do a proposal.
Yeah,
Councillor Rhodes?
I don't think we should be supporting the leadership role because to me that's like paying my dues. I don't think we should be supporting the stipend because that's we always have a policy we don't pay for free.
Yeah.
So to me those are out, but I think we should consider whether we give them the costume lighting.
I think that's the only.
That's what I would ask this time to give them 700. Well, I don't know about marketing, because we have paid for marketing in the past.
I think £300. I think I'd like to understand a little bit more about what that's for. So if members are minded to approve it, we could put
Marketing budget.
exactly. We could put a caveat in that I find out what it's for, and if I'm satisfied, it's delegated to chair and officer. If that's okay.
Yeah, so the proposal is that we give them the creative production budget.
Yeah. And we find out about the marketing.
And the marketing budget is subject to further investigation and agreement by the chair.
So 700 is definite, and the other 300 is.
I've got Councillor Rhodes as a proposal. Can I have a second, please? Councillor Clark, and are we all in favour of the committee? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next one is Dance for Health.
And the next one on the agenda is 6.3 is Dance to Health, St Andrews Dance to Health.
So these people are asking for £2,500. Project total is 5,300. They have 69 beneficiaries, 19 direct beneficiaries, and 50 indirect who have funded them before in 2021, the post-COVID grant which we started them. They have 19 members that live within the Crewe town boundary, plus members that turn up as and when they can. They don't turn anybody away. They are looking to grow that and expand that. So because we don't fund salaries, I asked them, I said, I'm keen to explain the difference to members about the dance artist. Is this specialist support? And I was told, yes, it was specialist support. They don't employ the dance artist, they bring her in. And Dawn, Councillor Clark, knows that you know the team, they don't need the team.
Yes, and I do the same with Banner
And I think it's dealing with balance, stability, it's an over 55s club that addresses our social isolation policies. I feel that it's a good investment of the money, obviously.
I also think that outside of the beneficiaries that are listed here, whilst it's making those older people fit and healthy, I see them as volunteering for other things. So I think it's one of these ripples.
Councillor Graham, Councillor Rhodes.
For me, trying to take this is the wage. Yeah, well, I'm right behind you, and it's still paying wage. And also, they collect 3 times a week for the person who contributes. And I can't see this on this.
But we have in the past, as long as it's not a direct employee, we have in the past funded specialist support, haven't we? I can't quite think of exactly the groups that we've done it for. But I don't see this as personally as a wage. They are buying in a service to enable the groups to continue, which is what you said you do for dementia.
Yeah, we, our funding comes from grants and donations and buying activities for our, one of them is Scouts for Health, and everybody goes away exhausted, what happened? After a session of the tea, they can't believe it. So, yeah, she's put them through the paces, but it's also a very full session as well.
So she's self-employed?
Yes.
There's something else as well, sorry to interrupt, but we paying for 4 hours a week for the person to come in, but we're only paying for the space time for 3 hours a week.
Well, they're not asking for anything towards that,
No, but we're only paying for space time for 3 hours a week. What is it? We don't seem to mention.
It mentions plan and delivery, perhaps.
Planning.
Planning.
Yeah, I mean, we could partially fund if you felt that you'd like to proportion that. We could go back and fund 3/4 of it instead of the actual
I
plan.
don't think we should be paying for planning.
So we could fund 3/4 of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be happy to propose we pay 3/4 of it.
Councillor Rhodes is proposing on 3/4 of it, and Councillor Hawthorne is seconding it. Thank you. Are we all in favour for that proposal? 6.4 is digital arts box film creators workshop.
Okay, so I don't think this particularly fits our criteria. Councillor Graham and I went through this one with a fine-tooth comb, and I kind of feel as if the application has been made to fit, which of course everybody does. But when I but when I dug a little bit deeper, what I found out was that because my alarm bells were sort of going off a little bit because the quote that I got for them was from them. So I asked them directly, is this your stock? Because they do the sessions all over the place and you hire it out to yourselves. And effectively, yes, that was the answer. The specialist support that they mentioned is employed by them. So this was all found out after the grant application was put on the agenda. So for me, we don't fund salaries.
My first question was, why aren't they applying for funding to buy the equipment rather than hire it? And that's what opens the can of worms. We find out that they actually do have the equipment, they're just hiring it into themselves.
Well, they've secured a grant from Cheshire East for 5,000, and they have some indirect funding, 3, 4, 5, 11, and they're looking for us to fund the rest. But it is an employed person, and it is their own stock that they are nominally moving around to support each group. So for me, it doesn't fit.
No, I agree, and also the fact that they have got funding for the next sessions, there will be an evaluation of that, and perhaps, you could look at that evaluation to see how it actually, what it delivers, and whether it delivers on, and whether something in the future we could fund. You'll see the outcomes of what they're at, of the original proposed.
They operate out of Screw Library, so they are
Yeah.
and they are legit, but it wasn't the best thing to apply for in my opinion.
Can I suggest that post-publication of the agenda and information is shown that the application is invalid for the system and should be declined at this stage?
Proposal for advice. Councillor Francis is proposing and Councillor Rose second. All in favour for
Okay, next
6.5 is the Rescue Club by MCA.
so this is, as you can see, £2,500. We funded them before. We've done additional holiday villages for them before, and it's gone down very well, and we've spent the money very, very wisely. For me, this is a proven commodity. It's an after-school club that they already run in Sherborne, I So it's approval from Majesty, they're just repeating what a formula that works, and they're asking us to assist and help with that. I think they support a lot of people, they obviously know what they're doing.
As being a council of the Crew staff, I fully support this, that the children who they will address for many issues from antisocial behaviour to food poverty through this club. It is, it's outstanding. I've been there on the days when they've done it impromptu. We've also been running street sports throughout that area, and they've been so well attended. Now, there is a target audience of about 34, I think, was the last.
Well, street sports finishes at the end of the
First
summer as
month,
well.
so to actually, to have something indoors for them to go to, there is a sitting audience there who will benefit from working with the YMCA. I'm absolutely prepared to propose.
Councillor Murray.
So is that on the group?
You're all in favour?
Okay. The next one is 6.6
6.6 is my CWA, Cheshire Without Abuse, male peer support lounge include.
So they didn't approach us, I approached them, and the reason that I went out to see them and approached them is because, as members are aware, we are delivering the White Ribbon project across our boundary, which is all about supporting women who suffer violence by men. And all these posters are being delivered all over Crewe, and one of the things we're constantly being asked is, what about the men? So I started to have a look into it, and I spoke to the ICWA, and again, they're a proven policy, they know what they're doing as well, and I talked to them about what they can do for males. So at the moment, they are, I'll just briefly run through what I've heard from them. At the moment, what they're doing is delivering one-to-one support for males that are, and transgender, that are victims of domestic abuse by women. So it mirrors what we're doing for females. What they're looking at doing is what Dove Counselling have done. We funded their body group. So they're looking at almost doing a peer support group for the men to free up the one-to-one counselling to take in more people, but also just because the men then have somebody to talk to. I've also connected them with Wilderness Tribe, who we, of course, already fund, and they are now cross-referring, so it's, we're not asking for very much at all. I know that we don't particularly look favourably on products for sessions, but if you have a look at what they're actually funding themselves and the fact that I approached them for a reason, I'd like to think that we could offer them something.
Songs are wrong.
I know, yeah, £40 out, yeah, I told them that. So
we don't
680. I know that. So
Councillor Rhodes.
Can I suggest that we don't fund refreshments, but we fund the volunteer expenses? Or
we can't
somebody
afford
towards
that.
that?
Or a donation towards the whole
Volunteer
amount.
expenses are already secured.
Yeah. So the Amplified Voice Lead is salaried, and that's the person that it's a vital part of their service, and they've been shaped by those who use them. Our client voices are at the heart of every decision we make, and the Amplified Voice Lead is employed by them to deliver that service. I think technically this in the next financial year, if this went well, I'd be asking members to look at a 3-year funding deal for us to get behind them to support them, because I think that we do need to support what they're doing, because it is a real issue, and the stigma attached to men that are being abused by women is in some ways a little bit worse, but women can talk a lot more freely. I love that they're connected with Wilderness Tribe. Already one referral has gone, and they've cross-referred back again, so that's good. So yeah, I think it's where the members are prepared to go.
We have got the issue that we don't fund refreshments.
We have,
We have to
Be consistent.
be consistent, so we have to.
okay.
So we have to say we might fund some of their volunteer expenses and then pay for their own refreshments.
Okay, so we look to,
Councillor Rhodes.
Do you know what the quarterly extras are?
Yeah, so I went back to it and asked for that, and if you look on the page at the head of it, just at the front of it, so quarterly extras, the cost covers extra activities usually planned around annual public holidays, £50 a quarter. I mean, it's not,
It could up that,
yeah. So, oh gosh,
then we wouldn't be going into something we don't know. I mean, personally, I would like to £100,000. I agree. You know, and I don't know how we get it through.
Well,
And I know
it's supposed to be a
that's not-
12-week programme, so we're actually asking them to do a 24-week programme.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
right.
Well, I'd like to second.
yeah.
So, let me just write on the front there, sorry. So, you're proposing, Jill, that we fund them £1,000 so that we can extend the term of the course?
Yeah.
Okay.
But without any refreshments.
With no refreshments, yeah. It would be a donation.
No, you can't.
Let them feed themselves.
I'll take
Okay.
the box of biscuits.
Okay, thank you. So if that's what Councillor Rhodes is proposing, Councillor Francis is.
Amending my two.
Are we all in favour?
Are we all in favour? Yes. Thank you. I just wanted to point out, you will see it on the agenda, that the Lighthouse Centre, the Money Book Festival, has been cancelled, and we funded them £1,072 for that, and they have refunded that amount of money. So that's there. Connection there, so
We go on to 6.7, which is connections, outdoor amenities area.
So, this is, they're looking at a base for a greenhouse, I believe. We go through it, year by year. And it all stacks up, except for they cannot provide quotes because it's all been verbal or done by text or whatever. They're asking us for £1,500. I've told him that if we were to agree to fund him, I would need a receipt and a quote. So if they can't give us a quote, what I've asked for is you'd have to give us receipts for the funding to prove that we spent it. I think they're looking to get started as quickly
Yeah,
as
but we've got
they
into
can.
winter. We're not having anything in winter.
So defer it subject to.
Just to say that I visited this as mayor a few weeks ago to give out the graduation certificates, and it was one of the most inspirational events I've been to. You spoke of been to hell and back, and the outdoor space that we're creating and we're working on. Lacks equipment, lacks materials, but it was really, they really put in the heart and soul into actually making something of that space.
They're also much funding themselves, aren't they?
But happy to sort of say, let's defer it to the next meeting, just make sure they get proper quotes, and if it means being then going back in there to help them get the quotes, then we're right hand to them.
So it's a slight interest. I give them 2 biscuits occasionally.
Terrible.
They have set up a very, very flimsy temporary perspex greenhouse, and they did get a few tomatoes out of it. But the thing about photos of plants, they are really dynamic. So I was in there ages ago, it seems, and I mentioned about the crazy races.
Yes.
And they said, we could do that. We could do that. And within 10 minutes, they collected 10 pounds from everybody in the room.
Oh, wow.
They filled out the form, and they made the most fantastic art. And it's the nature of the addiction, they fly at things, and if you can't give them what they need at that point, there might be danger of running out. I think the point about being winter is a good one.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt they do great things, like we're just asking for to comply with their rules and the receipts.
So, Councillor White, you would go along with the same suggestion that it might be different.
Yes, quite.
I'm suggesting it's not deferred, okay? Are they getting someone to come in and do this, or are they getting material? Maybe some labour. Are they getting the materials in, and is it an activity which they can do over the winter?
It's an activity.
They can do that over the winter.
Yeah.
They can build it over the winter.
I mean, I could, if we didn't transfer, I could say this is subject to receipts. We need
Well, not
receipts.
just receipts, it's quotes.
We need quotes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I'm happy to, subject, to give it to the officer, subject to quotes being obtained.
Yeah. Well, that might be.
And then we'll delegate the decision to officer and chair as long as we've got the quotes.
Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, just for consistency, we've already given 2 applications more money than we asked for. And we didn't discuss quotes or receipts in those cases. I'm just wondering.
But we've got the things for this one, we did one by saying we were extending the course. So, and to take something without that person knowing how much it's going to cost.
They have
It's
got
not
text,
really-
they have got text here, and he's forwarded me all the text, so it's the builder who's helping him out and doing and stuff, and I have seen evidence of this, I just don't have a written quote, and I can't get it to you in time, but I've no doubt that it's legit.
Well, can we go with Dawn? I would second Dawn's suggestion
Okay.
that it goes forward.
Subject to.
Subject to the chair
Even
and
if it's just-
officers, really.
Right.
If it's just copies of the text messages which the chair can see.
Councillor Murray.
Yeah, if there's no quotes, can we not use the invoices for these materials and receipts? Language is a little bit more confusing.
Yeah,
I think if we can use the invoices, then the invoices will be sufficient as a quote.
It's evidence, isn't it?
and I can,
Thanks, I apologise, I'm not doing my thing. Just for point of clarity,
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I apologise, I'm trying to be clear. Just for point of clarity, it seems we have an actual proposal on the table, and I think it was seconded, so that was a substantive motion, we're discussing that, and as I understand it, it's approved subject to provision of evidence of costs. Okay.
And so the proposal is Councillor Pratt, Councillor Lewis seconded, and are you all in favour?
okay. So everyone, right, so that's all been voted on.
Back to item 7 on the agenda, consider grant variation request from
So Vision are our neighbours, they are 3 or 4 doors down, they moved in some time ago, probably 10 months or so ago, and we funded a sign for the front of their building. We declined a lot of things that they asked for, if you remember, they asked for furniture and we said no, but we funded the sign, and unfortunately it looks as if they didn't quite put the VAT on the sign and they didn't include the fitting, so they now have they need an electrician to illuminate it. They now have an additional cost of £458.57. So I said to them, you have 3 options. You can either refund the money, you can apply for a variation, or you can fund it yourself. The difference will be yourself. Those are the 3 options. And they asked, they obviously are a charity and they don't have a lot of money, and they asked me to ask members to consider topping the grant up to allow for the funding, allow for the grant to be received. So we gave them £530, and I broke it down, so an extra £13.81 for the sign, £108.76 VAT on the sign, £180 to fit it, £36 VAT on the fitting, and an electrician includes that at £120. And I attached the original application for your reference, but we only funded the sign.
Why are we paying that?
Because the electrician, I suppose, should be able to
Exactly, we should be paying that.
Okay, so, yeah, sure, okay. So 108.76 VAT on the sign is out immediately, and then 36 VAT on fitting, and I could back the 120 for the electrician, which the VAT content is 20 quid, so yeah, could knock off 100 quid there. So it could be £100 for the electrician instead of 120. So our members minded to fund it minus the VAT, the difference for them.
We've already purchased this sign.
No, yeah, they've got, no, they've checked that they can still fit the song, but for whatever reason it didn't happen, and I've been chasing it for a while, and now this is the if members are minded, I can remove all of that content, and it wouldn't be 400 not come on with it. So. No, I'm not sure. I could speak to them and make sure that that's the case.
I'm not sure.
I think that turnover will also mean they're happy about those. They're not small organisations, they're based in Cardiff as well.
So, again, this could be one that we could agree to fund, subject to me finding out about their VAT status, and if they can be claimed VAT, then obviously I would remove it. If they can't be claimed VAT, our members happy to fund it, including the VAT for different
Could I have a proposal to look for other? Okay, so we've got Councillor Graham and Councillor Wise. Do we all in favour? Everybody agree?
Well, consistency, I voted against it last time.
Against.
Moving on to item number 8 on the agenda, to consider the details of a new community strategy to replace a vision of Vision for.
So, as members are aware, a vision for Crewe is what was formed in 2013, which has shaped everything we do in terms of funding and grants and support. We've now achieved a lot of the objectives in the vision for Crewe, and our new corporate strategy reflects what our new policy should say, our new, so we call it community strategy. I've obviously written down quite a lot of stuff if members just want to digest it. I won't read through it all because there's way too much.
I do.
You do.
I honestly don't remember what I was meant to say.
I just enjoy putting you on the spot.
The Vision for Crewe was created by the Town Council a while ago and gave the direction for this committee's predecessor committee. We're now at a point where the process has been followed through to now. It needs refreshing, not entirely renewing. There is an issue with how it will be delivered, which is what the report speaks to. It speaks to the fact that we need to find out how we can find support to make this happen. So a significant amount of public consultation and engagement to make sure it reflects the communities it's trying to represent, and that will take significant time. So the recommendation and conclusions, I think, as I recall them, the officer wrote them, point to that the officer will go out to potential agencies, those third sector agencies, to see how we might be able to engage and consult and deliver something see what the resource requirements are.
This will be probably during the early part of next year due to time constraints to deliver. Remember, it's Sunday, Tree Night, the community events. It's just having the time to brief people properly so that we can get a quote that actually means something.
Sorry, so this is a proposal for this to go out to consultants to deliver, and we're not delivering it in-house.
No, we would have to.
So this time, no capacity to do all the coordinate it, but there's a huge amount of time. Unless members are minded to change track and remove aspects of it.
Any other questions? Councillor Rhodes.
Someone who was involved in the original vision for Crewe, they are quite a lengthy document, and they do require contact with residents and community groups, if they are going to be at all meaningful. And it's not just capacity, it's about the skills and engagement, because it is quite a skilled job to engage with community groups and so on, and draw from their priorities. And I think in the past we've paid for this community, and I think we should also bear in mind that Crewe is currently in a place where there's a lot of changes going on. We've got an archive centre, we've got a museum, we're going to have a new boxing club. we've got a lot of things that we need to consider. We've got gymnastic clubs, we've got Camp Street Gym wanting to move, and I think it's good that we get some kind of perspective on what people want, because currently there's a lot of things going on that very few people decided upon. So I think it is important to get an idea of what our actual residents want.
Yeah, fine. But I think this committee needs to have scrutiny of the actual plan, and the tender that goes out and what people what they come back with, so we can actually ensure that that engagement and is thorough and having been around when the last one was done, I would like to ensure that we're getting value for money.
I think it's a really valid point, and I would certainly welcome any input from experienced members, certainly ones that we involved the first time round. The way that I see it is this will be funded if approved from next year's budget. When I delivered all the things that I need to deliver after Christmas, obviously I'll start to have a think about exactly how we're going to do this, and I would of course liaise with members along the way and submit any proposal for approval before we went out to tender, so to speak. That's the one.
Would it help if us councillors were given as part of this, if we were part of that process, we're given specific consultation units to do within our own areas? I think that would really help me, because we see people all the time, and we need a more systematic way of recording what we hear and asking the pertinent questions.
Yeah, I think that the more information that we can get before we commit to anything, the better. Did you want to speak to it?
I mean, I must say there's a radical difference between where the first time was used and the second time was used. Because there's a lot more community engagement in the first one. Although, not as good as with the Brandon, but we still have that community engagement. Whereas the second one probably wasn't what's going on the same way.
So I would suggest then that we can pretty much start again and look at it fresh with input from and guidance from members.
Well, I think the priorities of the council to this committee have changed from when the first time.
Corporate strategy reflects that, doesn't it? Absolutely. So, I don't think we need a proposal on this particularly, do we? It was just for consideration. So it's noted and agreed that I will proceed as soon as I can, and I will obviously keep members in the loop and feed back to you. Are you happy with that?
Moving on the agenda is to provide an update to members on the progress of the business delivery.
Okay, so this is pretty much everything I have been working on. At the moment, everything I've got coming up here, so obviously the grants. Tonight I've done you some totals. We funded 8 applications to date, totaling £11,160. I explained that the Lighthouse Centre of cancelled the Valley Park Fund Day and have funded the 1072. So in fact we funded £10,088. This leaves an unallocated balance of 19,911. 7 applications for consideration received in 13,579. That will obviously be slightly less. So we have a £30,000 total budget with 2 months left in the year, in the financial year, I should say. So we're under that budget, and obviously I will endeavour to continue to really advertise advanced in this time. When we get close to the top of it, we'll obviously have to think about what we'll do next, and I will propose that if the budget is spent, then that's it for the financial year, and we can think about what we do.
We've got 2 more rounds to go.
Yeah, so we've got meeting in July, the next deadline is December. Sorry, January. I've started with the same letter. So meeting in January, deadline is December, and meeting in March, deadline is February.
So we might not go out to the full one.
We may run out, yeah, potentially before, but I'll obviously keep posted on that as we go along. I'll make the start of the next meeting. Remember, it's Sunday service, so this is progressing at pace. We have a new padre. He's a former ex-drills. I can't speak today. I'm really sorry. We have a new parade marshal who is a former ex-drill sergeant. We also have a new padre because, of course, Reverend Oliver has left us. So I had a meeting here a couple of days ago where we went through the entire plan with timings. I have to make sure that 11 o'clock silence is observed at 11 o'clock, so everybody's been given the timings. We have extended the parade route this year to allow for the fact that we've got a lot of schools attending, which is lovely. So we've invited all the schools. So far, 4 of them have come back and said yes, they want to come, want to know Ruth, want to take part in the parade. So they'll go at the back. I've also been trying to engage with groups, more diverse groups. So, for example, the community event that Dawn and I and Sally attended, where we was just celebrating diversity in Crewe. We had a big Polish attendance there, and these women cooked up a storm, and everybody swapped food of the nation, and they want to join us in their national dress and take part in the parade. So I was delighted about that. We have made sure that we involve the churches. We're making sure that everybody is welcome. Obviously, there are a lot of children in schools that have parents in Ukraine, etc., etc. So schools, we're engaging with schools more and more about this, and it's really important to get the children involved, and I'm delighted that it looks like they're accepting. So Remembrance Sunday is a lot of work, it takes a lot of my time, but it's a wonderful service to deliver. The Tree of Light has been slightly delayed this year, only because all the tasks lost their bereavement services manager, and the new one only started recently, so I only actually saw it last week. So I've also been very helpful over trying to plan the Tree of Light. I had Rob Whites in yesterday to go through the service. We invited Wisterston Academy to slightly outside our boundary, but all the children are from Crewe to sing Silent Night at the end of the service. All the little kiddies come along, and we've got the usual choir, my choir, and Baker Street Bells to sing all the various songs. It's a 45-minute service. It goes down so well. All the stars will be going out in the next few weeks to all the stations all around Crewe, where people, I think we had about 600 stars last year on the tree that people have handwritten to their loved ones. So that is progressing well. Pop Up in the Parks, that was successful, delivered by Everybody Leisure. They are in the process of putting together an evaluation for me. Obviously, only finished 2 weeks ago, so I'll share that with members at the next meeting. And when they come in to see me, we also start to plan next year, have a look at the parks, because we try and rotate the parks, as people are aware, to make sure that everybody's included. And there's obviously, I've just put in a little thing through there to have a look at. White ribbon, A4 door stickers. The leaflet's up there in the folder, and I've also put something on here, have started to go out around Crewe. Councillor Mortimer delivered, and is in the process of delivering these A4 door stickers with our barcode on to every single pub in Crewe. She's not just knocking on the door, she's actually sticking them on the door. I just put these in your toilet so they don't get thrown, because they're really expensive. And basically, it's Are You at Risk of Abuse? It's our white ribbon campaign that we're supporting. The barcodes, nobody has to write anything down or take anything away. If a lady is in the toilet, she can scan the barcode. It links immediately to all the support groups in Crewe, where they can directly get through. So I feel that we have, as part of our corporate strategy, to become white ribbon accredited. We have promoted it, we've marketed it, we have a steering group where members of the steering group attend regularly. Cheshire Fire being part of it. Cheshire Fire, by the way, are also delivering all these leaflets out to everywhere they go. I feel that it's our job now to empower almost a female support group, perhaps, or maybe we work in collaboration with other people that are registered for White Ribbon, like Avanti, Cheshire Fire, and we look, this has taken a lot of my time now, and I also think that we need to be thinking, so for example, somebody phoned this office, somebody was being abused and needed help, and I straight away flagged it with Pete as a little bit of a safeguarding concern. What if who answered the phone didn't give the right advice? And it just rang a couple of alarm bells. What if somebody knocked at the door and one of us didn't know? You know, the disclosure thing is an important thing. So I started to turn my thoughts to, you know, how we would. It was always the plan in year 2 to pass it on to a support group. And basically, we would always want to see a white ribbon event being run in Crewe. This year, we're doing it on the Wednesday in the market hall. Every support group female support group in Crewe has accepted. It's the first time in ages they're all going to be in the same room together. The mayor, the deputy mayor will be there. I've booked a photographer. We've got stickers all over the market hall. And I kind of feel like we've done what we were supposed to do, and now it's time to notch it up a level and look at the female support groups that might be able to put a little bit of specialist support. And we empower them to continue to run an annual white ribbon event in Crewe. Because there are lots, but specifically in Crewe for everyone. And I'm hoping that getting them all in the same room will be the start of something good.
Is it just for the female?
This is it's white ribbon, so we have to satisfy the criteria. As an accredited council, there is a criteria that we have to satisfy, and I have to report everything back. It's really time consuming, it takes so much of my time. And I think we've done a pretty decent job in raising awareness. So White Ribbon Day is Monday the 25th. We are running our event on Wednesday the 27th because there's already a lot of commitments for the female support groups. Getting everybody in the same room is brilliant. Our comms will, of course, advertise it and say, do you need help? All these people are going to be in the same place. We're just looking at raising awareness. So I'm starting to turn my thoughts towards, you know, how we're going to make this happen. We do have a steering group for White Ribbon, which Ben is our ambassador, Councillor Ryan is our ambassador. So we'll obviously go forward with that and I'll keep members posted. The next steering group is early January, so it will be on the agenda for the January meeting. I've deliberately done it to give ourselves time to report back.
It is possible to go online and do the I have done myself. For males, the male one is actually getting out there and actually talking to the men.
It starts with
And
men.
it's the big thing. Especially get out there and engaging with men.
White Ribbon.
Spread the word around.
White Ribbon have produced a really powerful video. It's only about 2 minutes long. I'll share it with everyone when I send these minutes out. And it's all about it starts with men and it's teaching people not to be a bystander, stand up and be counted, report stuff, because so many people, it talks about banter and how it's funny to you but not to other people. So I will share that with members when I send out the minutes. Female mental health, of course, as you're aware, we do have a female mental health allocation, and I know Jill, you Councillor Bell specifically mentioned Motherwell in terms of all the good things that they do. We now fund Motherwell just over £2,000 to support their period dignity projects, and all the bins have got our branding, etc. I'm going over there next week to look at them all. And they are now running monthly wellbeing sessions for women in Crewe, and they have a local GP that is taking part of that and speaking to women directly about their needs. So that links in nicely with our White Ribbon, of course, and period dignity is always a thing. And I just attached their proposal just for members to have a look at. I won't go through that in detail. The friendship group for Wishing Well, we continue to support the friendship group there. I've done a little piece on how many people it benefits, and we just paid them the second half of their funding, subject to their evaluation, which was more than satisfactory. And lots of people benefit from not an awful lot of money. Bereavement counselling continues with Dog Buddies. I won't go on too long about that. I know this meeting is going on. Veteran support. We have funded Crewe Armed Forces Breakfast Club because EBA members are already aware of that. We recently contributed £250 to the Breakfast Club to buy 55 breakfasts. So sometimes veterans will turn up and they're hungry and they can't afford the breakfast. So our money will pay for the 55 veterans that, you know, if they need it. And they'll keep a tally for me and they'll let me know as and when it gets close to 10, and then they'll give me details. It's accounted.
Which one is it?
So that's the veteran crew armed forces. Is it at the Falcon Pub, is it?
The Gore Eagle.
Gore Eagles.
Gore Eagles.
Same name, different venue. Okay. We've also funded, contributed £300 towards a veteran's well-being trip to the Arboretum, which is happening next week. Councillor Graham and Councillor Cobb are both invited to that but can't attend. But Councillor Graham is going along for a bit of a photo call to see them all off. There's 33 people attending. So it's and some people couldn't afford to attend, so our funding will enable the ones to attend. Street sports, as we discussed earlier, we're in year one of the 3-year delivery plan. That has been so successful. They started late this year because, of course, we only got it approved in June, so it's running until the end of this month. Next year it will run the same as Everybody Leisure and finish at the end of September. Because they're struggling in the rain, a lot of them keep having to be cancelled. But I didn't want.
Street sports, yeah, that was really successful. What can the Pop Up in the Parks project learn from that?
So if you put children in the mix, you're always going to do really, really well. And I was really keen to separate the two. So we look after children every single tea time, every single day for 4 months. We look after those children. The Pop-Up in the Parks through Everybody Leisure was specifically aimed at different demographics. So mums and babies, families could join in, family fun. The yoga at Queen's Park, our classes actually at Queen's Park at 7 o'clock on Monday morning was millions, loads and loads of people. So we're just trying to, so we're year 2 with them, we're just trying to look at, the easiest thing to do is to give it to a group that will, and the children will follow. And they're wishing I do a wonderful job of that, as you know. But we're just trying to look at a different demographic and just see how we can also support adults, the elderly, trying to encourage families to join them. So that was the idea behind that one. Debt counselling support. So, Chance Changing Lives. If you remember, members allocated £2,500 a year for 3 years, and in the first year, nobody wanted our £2,500, despite me writing a brief, inviting expressions of interest. Nobody applied for it. We just didn't want it. So I went out to Chance Changing Lives, who of course support a lot of people who use PennySmart for their debt advice. PennySmart have cut funding. Chance Changing Lives have secured the property, the Guinness property on the end of the road. Now that's all newly switched up. Dawn went out recently to see them. And they are going to run debt counselling. The PennySmart are training their volunteers. They are going to be running debt, so they're going to be able to self-refer to each other and help people in budgeting advice initially. The hope is that they're going to move the office support into the new building, which our funding is helping support really, which means then that they can increase the space in the pantry, which means then that they will get more volunteers, which means then that they can look after more families. So I saw it as a good investment, and it was delegated to chair and officer because it was approved and Alan May talked it through. And we've committed to the remaining 2 years for them. So that's first payment has just gone out. This one I need a resolution on, so we will need to vote formally on this one. So at the start of the year, members approved £2,500 funding for volunteering. I'm asking formally if that money can be released back into the wellbeing budget line for reallocation. £2,500 doesn't make an awful lot of difference in terms of what we can do to help volunteers. The Flourish Fund has seen quite a big, through Cheshire East Council, I've certainly been directing everybody to the Flourish Fund. And I think whilst we need to continue to monitor it and share and promote posts, and I've spoken to the CBS and we've got their guidance document for both volunteers and for the small charities and community groups. And I think our job here is to continue to raise awareness and make people aware that I don't know how we would meaningfully spend that £2,500. So what I'd like is a proposal for it to be released from volunteering and reallocated back into wellbeing. So can we have a Is that approved? Okay, thank you very much.
Also, Tony,
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, Crucial Crew, Child Safety Media, we are in year 2 of a 3-year funding commitment to them. They've moved their event from October to November, and of course the mayor will be invited. They've had a few technical issues, and the mayor will be invited to the VIP event, which I will notify you of during comes through. Male Mental Health Organisation, I've already discussed what they're doing. They are starting to build on it now, and it feels as if they've gained a bit of traction, so to speak, and as I said, I've connected them with 90WA. The Community Awards / networking event. This is something that we have booked in on Tuesday, the 11th of February, and we've booked the municipal buildings for this. We'll have 8 categories for the awards, and here's a tentative list for members just to have a look at. I formed a small subcommittee, if you like, that is Councillor Renee, of course, Councillor Clark, Councillor Graham, myself, Rosie, the events manager, and Ingrid, the support officer, so that we can, obviously, time is of the essence. I need to be thinking now, end of November, we need to be getting nominations and sending everything out. That will happen after I finish Remembrance Sunday. So the committee will take decisions, but I just wanted members just to have a look at the categories. I'll pick 8 out of those. So I've asked members just have a look at the categories, and if there's anything offensive there that you think shouldn't happen, or if you think I've missed anything, then please let me know. I don't need to read them out, do I? Would you like me to? No?
so it's EDI.
Policy diversity.
Can't say it. Quality, diversity, inclusion. Okay, so all the guidelines I've already put together. I've got a meeting planned with the events manager tomorrow to formally go through everything and to look at the time that is needed and what we need to continue with that. Twinning. We haven't got very far with twinning at all. Clive Moseby isn't very well. He has been in to see us. He's not responding at the moment, so we're kind of leaving him alone. It might be that ends up going back into wellbeing at the end. We'll keep on pushing for that. So, Food in Crew, I have a meeting booked the week after next with Graham, CPS Food Coordinator. There's lots of talk about who may or may not come to Crew. Funding is an issue. Last time I spoke to the group that wanted to move here, I can't remember the name, Changing Lives Together. Last time I spoke to them, they were negotiating on funding, so they've gone for the High Street funding and repurposing the High Street, and it wasn't going well. They didn't think they were going to get as much as they thought they were, so they were looking at how they might do that. I've not heard from them for a few days now, but that was the last status from them. The bread and butter thing, have you been out there yet?
No, next Thursday.
Okay, so I went out in June. It's fantastic watching Raw and the mayor is going out to see them. This again is for consideration and resolution. I have covered this off with members before, but it wasn't documented that it was approved. So I just want to make sure that I can be formal about it. So funding was allocated for 3 years to create a live, detailed community mapping asset. Obviously that hasn't happened. Having explored the option, it was found that to create a digital mapping resource would be prohibitively expensive, as well as requiring a disproportionate amount of time to maintain and ensure the information is correct. So verbally, members agreed that we could allocate that funding to groups within the community that fitted the EDI criteria. So far, Tom's Tap have had £750 for an event that they delivered for young artists that were looking to grow and expand into the community. We funded the Cheshire East Filipino Community Group to deliver their event at Queen's Park, which went well, and that's really developing. They're planning it for next year. I'd like to see that next year actually include more chunks of the community and look at perhaps allocating a little bit more to them to support them. We recently funded Alpha Omega WPS, who are obviously a female support Again, that is a 1-year agreement, subject to quarterly evaluation, because we don't know, it's a very different project. It deals with female genital mutilation, arranged marriages, and all the things that they address. But they're not just talking to the people that need help, they're talking to health professionals to educate them in how to advise and deal with people who need that help. So I just included that. So I need a formal resolution on that one. So a proposal and a resolution. So can we just propose that? I know I have talked about it before you did the other agree, I just need an official for the EDI. So we're not spending it on community mapping, we're spending it in community environment. Okay, so moving on, rewrite the community strategy we already talked about. I just wanted to update members and put some pictures in as well for this wonderful event that we had celebrating diversity in crew. We worked with churches together and we funded churches together to deliver this event, and we saw 37 people attending in total. We saw the Polish community attend, East Timor, Hong Kong, Filipino, Bangladesh, and it was wonderful, wasn't it?
It was.
We called it Food of the Nation, and everybody brought a plate of food from their nation. And it started off really small and quiet, and nobody was talking. And by the end of the night, everyone was eating everybody's food, and they were all sitting. And it was a wonderful event, and lots of photos and more talk from churches together, delivering more network events. When I look at something like that, I think that Filipino group event, it might actually lend itself perfectly to actually involve more communities if we got behind them.
I'll go there Christmas Day.
You're going to oh, amazing. So,
I just back that up. The Filipino event in the park was really, really good. And there was marching bands, there was music, there was like a karaoke thing. It was really good. And I was thinking, when you think about like Central Nottingham Park, simply, that was an exclusively West Indian thing back in the 60s. And then it's now it's just a massive thing. I think there's a lot, both those events could be the kernels of something much bigger. Now I've got the floor, I think I'd just like to pose my thanks and admiration to Councillor Mortimer for listening at his part.
So there's no truth that she's now following.
We were close friends, I just went to the school.
he did the school, she did the pub.
And I got the coffee shop.
So we've talked about they had 2,000 attendees at the park, 60% of them were from crew, so I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it? There is an ASB update from the Public Service Manager there for, she just did a little update, things that have happened since the last meeting for members to have a look at. Okay, and then we move on to
Agenda item number 11 or 10.
10, sorry.
I'd just like to thank you for all the hard work that you put into this committee and for all these events together, as well as the planning behind the community grants programme which we did. Moving on as well, put on record the events and the community group put on a lot of really good things in as well as using the facilities throughout town this year as well.
I'm very sorry to think on a soapbox. We've just received a summary, very, I was going to say short, but a summary nonetheless of this committee's business delivery plan, which has been progressed by what we said. Within the committee budget and financial report, you've had no questions, and it's been looked at diligently in the budget and the timescale. I wanted to have in context, 50% of our officers are part-time, and Jack is one of them. That's delivering part-time hours. Plus there's elements of financial administration. Plus there's elements of administration and dealing with the windfall communications you get in various emails and things like that. lots of other aspects. So when we speak about available time, it really is time. I know I always hear that from them. I'm very sorry for being repetitive. We're always open to take on new things, but bear in mind, if something new comes in, we've got to think about what we don't do anymore. Because that's a lot of stuff to deliver on part-time.
So are you asking us to reduce our hours? I'm just asking a question.
It'll make the office quiet.
Oh,
Okay, thank you, members. Item 10, I've got a member item from Councillor Clark to discuss the week revision for Councillor Clark.
Yeah, one of my recent visits as mayor, I visited the LAP project, which is the Liverpool looking after the homeless, which is delivered from the Caritas Centre on a Tuesday and Thursday morning. And it's purely done by volunteers and some donations from volunteers and whatever funds there. And as is my, when I do go out, is there anything else that Town Council could do for you? Is there, what are you lacking in? And mindful that we usually have this winter diversity, we have a winter fund, winter pressures fund. So that if you were to come to the winter pressures meeting, what would you be asking for? And the reply was shoes that lots of their customers, visitors, struggle because they can't buy a decent winter shoe. And it's not something that you can get from charity shops very well because normally people wear shoes out, so they're not something you can get from charity. So that was mindful to ask this committee whether we consider doing a donation to the looking after the homeless from our winter pressure budget of £500 towards shoes. I know it sounds a strange thing to put shoes, but we've got one season.
It's a real issue. It's not many people donate shoes. You wear them until you wear out. Oh, everything gets donated, but not shoes.
Why don't you set a bill next time? Donate, people will donate, people will pay for that.
Thank you.
So, budget-wise, if members were to approve the budget, it would come out of community commissioning, as yet unallocated funding in there of £2,830, so we could reduce that by £500 only from that.
And to sort of the interruption, actually they have tried to get donations, they have put out appeals, and this is why they're asking for financial support because their appeals are falling down.
I noticed on Facebook that a couple of them are asking for shoes, so it is
it is a real issue that,
so,
That's all right. Just, I think you're right. About a year ago, I put out a shoe appeal, and my court colleague in Holmes Chapel arrived outside my house in the middle of the night, and outside my door was about 50 pair of adult shoes. Felt like the owners of a shoemaker.
I was going to say, they probably thought you were having a party.
Yeah, so it might be if we reached out to other town councils, because there are those other places.
I didn't want to say,
And that, of course, is a possibility that we go back to, I can do that, but actually they know what they're doing and they should reach out to.
It's there in the budget book, what I've heard from Jackie. And what I need probably is a proposal for Dawn's suggestion.
I want to talk about this because not that I've got anything against Council Clark or that, but this is not the way that this community normally operates. We have a system for grants, we have a system where we commission people to do things. We don't normally have someone come in and ask them for funding. And I understand that it's an urgent thing that needs to be done now. But I don't, it doesn't match with what the terms of reference of this committee are, in my view. Well, I don't know what the answer is.
So, the winter provision, George, just to recap a bit. So, in the past, as you're aware, the last 2 years, we've had a small amount of money to Changing Lives, and also a small amount of money. So, what we did this year, we said, right, rather than keep drip feeding, we are going to give you a larger amount of money, but we're not going to be coming back and topping up in the winter, unless something dreadful happens and the temperature's dropped for a long period of time. So I see that money that's left in community commissioning, and there's other budgets with little bits of money left in as well, so we still have food bank support coming
It's
in.
not a question of money or the suitability of the recipient, it's the way it's being done.
This is our salaries advised to do it.
Right, okay, not your
That's
fault.
right.
As a member item, I think it's quite appropriate that members of actually be able to come to meetings and inform the agenda. If we took the agenda as options solely, then we can direct it away from representative options, not the intent at all. So, if a member comes forward with having gone out to meeting and met people and found an opportunity to serve, I think it's entirely appropriate for members to bring a member item.
But, and I'm sorry to say this, but for me, it's like member of the public, it's giving the privilege to a councillor that you get from the resident. I know as a councillor you have more, you have respect for the community, but I am not happy with the way this is going on, with what's happened. Not because of the people, not because the person's asked, but because we have systems. And I understand it has to be done quickly. I understand all that, and I would not vote against this. But I think as a council, we need a system that is in writing that says if mayor goes out and meets a group, and that group makes a request that we have a way, that we put that so that it's not me or any other council coming up and voting request. And that's going forward.
I think the understanding was you do have the facility for member items, and that's what this is. So members can put forward a motion as a member item.
Just to confirm, they're not eligible to apply for a grant either because they had one in the last financial year, so they can't do it any other way.
So we've already supported them once in the last financial year. So again, if I was another organisation, I might be saying, and I'm sorry I'm being helpful, I might be saying, well, they've already had some.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask the clerk, is there any other way that we could do something like this?
I'm sure there's many other ways.
That's not the answer I wanted.
I can't always give you the answer you want.
Why not?
I'm sure there are many other ways that we've done, as obviously pointed out, grant applications have been made and been successful and relatively recently in the last 12 months. So that's not appropriate. There's a need in the community identified by a member and it's brought forward as a member item.
We've
Done
done
by
it
a team.
before when Tom Dunlop was there. And
You've done it more recently as well, but that's fine. To deal with the technicality, I'll stand by the member items and standing orders is appropriate representation. Member motion.
All the traffic signs was a member item for you, the
Councillor
lighting signs.
I was thinking, is the mayor's fund?
No. There isn't a mayor's fund.
But for the ideal signs, that was brought forward as a member item and members voted and they went out applied in outside
Well,
schools.
can I ask that in future, if we're going to have a proposal that's actually on the agenda, we know what we can use it?
Okay.
So it's, if the public know what's going on, because and also, I think it would be better, well, I think we need, well, can we have a proposal on the agenda?
So in terms of this application, I withdraw it.
No,
And get onto the next agenda.
no, I fully
No,
support it. It's, I fully
I just
support what
took
you're
it away with
asking. Exactly, I fully support what you're asking, and I fully support the group, but it has to be done.
That's process you're concerned about.
Yes, I understand.
Happy for it to be withdrawn,
No.
go through the proper process.
We're going to do it this.
I think because of the urgency of saying councillor Rose, we will go forward with it, but we will
We need to
decide
consider
orders
what
for
we do in the future.
the future of members' items.
Perhaps I can ask for the clerk then to send round details of how many have been motioned and how we
get it into a
So,
agenda.
for the purpose of the minutes, £500 is approved for that, and,
Absolutely.
right, okay, no,
So the proposal was from councillor Clark.
I'll second it.
And councillor Graham was seconded. All in favour?
and in future, Pete and I between us will come up with a plan so that a proposal from whichever member is submitting it is on the agenda for members to
Written in
digest.
blood.
Only if it's yours. Okay.
Moving on to the budget setting on 25-26.
So members have already seen this at the last meeting, and it's just our practice to share it with members several times before we finalise it. So nothing's changed from the last meeting, and members saw it. This is the second time of looking. I'm already working on what we're looking at for next year in terms of funding. So have a look if there's anything you spot that you think is wrong. The only thing that I think might be needed on there is an allocation potentially for a rewrite of the financing plan, which we'd have to move from reserves.
Anybody got any questions on that?
Can I just say, as chairman for Anthony, I'm pleased that your budget increases within the numbers.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, councillor Rowland. And councillor Ryan.
I don't want to go into detail about this, but the antisocial behaviour project, because it hasn't been on at all. Yeah, well, there is antisocial behaviour.
So that comes across from Lindsay, the public services manager. I'll let you explain. It's complicated. Sorry, the clerk explain.
With it within your sphere of influence in terms of reference to the committee, it's right to represent it. There's never been a reference to it in the corporate strategy before. There is now. There is no known projects for delivery in practice issues like antisocial behaviour, team work, policing, as its responses, that sort of thing. But the Oxford Associated does get involved with trying to coordinate responses to have some impact on the ground. And it's just representing there to show that it exists, but there's no core on that this time.
Any questions on that?
All noted in the thank you. Moving on, committee to the proposed date of the next meeting will be Tuesday, the 21st of January 2025 at 6 p.m. as usual. I'd like to close the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody.